Welcome to those who already started to join us. Welcome at this very important webinar that Golden Key is hosted. Can you please tell us from where you are in the chat box? So just your name and from where you are, so that we get an idea of the geographical participation tonight. Just use the chat box at the bottom to announce yourself. Thijs from Joburg. Welcome, Thijs. Diane from Ontario, Canada. Welcome. Karen from Colorado. Welcome. Naisha from Canada. Wonderful. Hello from Delaware. Bongiwe from KZN. Somebody from PE, Udette. Somebody from Columbia, South Carolina. Another person from Ontario, Canada. That's wonderful. Arman from Potch, welcome. Jess from Stellenbosch. Lloyd from Limpopo. Annika from Stellenbosch. Hello, Annika. She's one of the people that attend many of our webinars. Jeanette, hello, from Rosetta KZN. Precious from PE. Letlogenolo from Northwest. Zander from Joburg. Clariska from Tanin. Christy from Mississippi. So as you can hear, Jackie, people from around the globe is interested in what you're going to tell them tonight and how to land the perfect job. It's an important part of our careers. Yes. Then we have somebody from Puerto Rico. Welcome. Jamie from Van der Bijl. Yarelise from Puerto Rico. Asanda from Pretoria. Kutzani from Botswana. It's always great to have our neighboring countries online. Great to see you. So we are very well represented from Golden Key globally. Rashka is Indian from Canada. David from Johannesburg. Wonderful. Zintle from Cape Town. Hi, Zintle. Marion from Pretoria. Shamim from Joburg. That's wonderful. People are avidly joining. We have 80 people online. That's wonderful. Erica from Texas. Samina from Umzintu, right? Sikumbele from KZN. Kristen from Wisconsin. Una from Mafeking. Kwasi from Durban. People still join at a vast rate, so we give them another few minutes. Riyadh from Durban, hi. Joanita from Queenstown. Hello, Joanita. She's one of our loyal Golden Key members, attending almost all our webinars. Lisa from Potch, hi. I nearly said hello, Elmi, but it's Juanita saying hello to us. So we have 99 people online at the moment, and we have a couple of seconds to go. And then I'm going to hand over to Marika to introduce Jackie. So welcome, everybody. Oh, Madimabi from Potch. Nice to have you online. Some people are still joining. Let's just give them another couple of minutes. I don't want them to miss anything, as it's such an important and valuable session with lots of information. All right, a couple of house rules before I hand over to Marika. I'm Elmi Castleman. I'm the Director for Golden Key International Honor Society. First of all, we do record the session and it will be posted on YouTube. It will be Golden Key Southern Africa on YouTube, right? You can get the recording there within 24 to 48 hours, and you will then be able to have a look at the PowerPoint again, because it will be there. Any tools that will be available, Jackie will send to us, and we will also upload it into the YouTube link. We ask questions in the Q&A box during the seminar and the webinar, and I will try to make sure that all questions get answered. So just be patient. We stop Jackie from time to time, and then we will make her aware of the questions, and she will be able to respond to the questions. So Jackie, once you see me or Marika on the screen, will know that we want to tell you about some of the questions our members have. We have 131 people online now. It's wonderful to have you all here. Welcome. Welcome to sunny South Africa. We have spring here for those who do not know or who is not in South Africa. And if you haven't visited us, apart from great webinars, we also have great people. So over to Marika. Thank you, Marika.
Thanks, Almi. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the newly launched Golden Key Academy, a place of online learning developed by Golden Key specially for our members. It has been created in response to feedback from our members telling us they want more support and expert guidance. We listened and have created a website filled with videos, articles, and ebooks. If you haven't had a chance to go and check it out yet, please do. One of the best things we're offering as part of Golden Key Academy is a packed schedule of live webinars like this one. We are doing our best to select speakers and topics that are relevant to you. So please feel free to give us feedback anytime if you would like to learn about anything specific by emailing thoughtleaders@goldenkey.org. Today we'll be focusing on how to land a perfect job. Session 2, the job search, with the amazing Jackie Pillay. Jackie Pillay is an alumni of Golden Key and a psychology honors graduate of the University of Pretoria. Her background in psychology provided a solid foundation for her to venture into the world of recruitment, where she went on to build an impressive track record of over 13 years. During this time, she has honed her skills to the point that she is now recognized as a specialist in IT and financial sector recruitment. She employs a holistic approach to recruitment by focusing not just on the employer's recruitment, but the candidate's experience, organizational culture, and comprehensive job profiling. Welcome, Jackie, and over to you.
Thank you very much for that wonderful introduction. And welcome, everybody. I'm glad to see so many people online to hear what I have to say tonight. I'm going to be focusing on the job search. So in essence, the job portals, how you navigate through them, in order to increase your chances to be found by somebody like me, so a recruiter. So essentially what we're trying to do is show you how to add value to your profile so that you can, show this value to a future employer and present yourself as best possible. So essentially we're going to look at things from my point of view first. So from the recruiter's perspective, to give you a little bit of understanding why I want you to do things in a certain way. And then I'm going to, have a quick look at the job portals, give you some tips and tricks on the job portals. I'm going to spend a lot of time on LinkedIn this evening because LinkedIn is the place where, most people go for when we're recruiting. So most recruiters spend their time on LinkedIn. This is where they do their searches and then obviously look at any questions. So let's look straight into some of your let's get started. So from the recruiter's perspective, so every time you as an individual decide to change your job or upload or, apply for a job, you're generally up against about 200 to 250 applicants that are going to apply for the same position. 50% of those won't meet the minimum requirement. So we're left with about 100 CVs. A recruiter will generally then do a keyword search and roughly find about 20 applicants that meet their requirement. Out of those 20 applicants, we'll then look at a match of personality, aptitude, and experience compared to what the hiring manager's given us, the information we've gotten from our client or the hiring manager. And of those 20, 4 to 6 profiles will only be viewed by the hiring manager. So if you were a part of last week's session, you will have heard where I said a recruiter on average takes 6 seconds to look at a CV. It sounds like a really, really short time, but I've got a little clip for you to show you what recruiters are looking at when they're looking at CVs during those 6 seconds. So yeah, take a look, and it'll just, you know, give you a little bit of information. Oh no, I lost it. Sorry. So that gives you an idea of, you know, from the recruiter's side, what we're looking at, and how, you know, makes that 6 seconds feel a little bit more, not like we're cheating you as candidates. So looking at the basics, and what I'm going to spend time on tonight is how to get your CV and your profile viewed, and how to maximize that time that somebody's spending on your CV. So looking over at the job portals, I've just selected, you know, the top ones, the most common ones. So your common job portals will be PNet, Career Junction, Careers 24, Executive Placements, and then LinkedIn. So as I mentioned, LinkedIn is where I'm going to focus my time. But the advice I can give you is be on all of these portals. So it feels tedious. It takes time. A job search is a job in itself at the end of the day. But take the time, go onto each and every portal and upload your information there. The reason I say this is because not all recruiters use the same portals. So you want to spread your net as wide as possible. So the more places your CV is, the more chance you have of being noticed. So the purpose of a job portal essentially is to increase your online presence and increase your chance of landing, you know, the perfect job. So the more, it's more than just a job search. So especially when it comes to LinkedIn, it's more than just looking at a job. It's a personal branding experience. So getting somebody to understand you and your brand, and what value you can add to their organization. It's an opportunity to sell yourself, so don't sell yourself short. It can feel very egotistical during this process to, you know, while you're building your brand, to put out your accomplishments and achievements and show off a little in essence. But you need to put these things in your profiles. You need to put it on your CV in order for people to see it, because if you're not putting it out there, how will I know? So yeah, don't sell yourself short. Tell me about your achievements. No matter how small, it's going to mean something out there. So as I mentioned, LinkedIn is a great foundation, and this is where recruiters spend most of their time. So start with your LinkedIn profile, spend the most effort on your LinkedIn profile, and then use the information from your LinkedIn profile to go to the portals. So your portals are very much prompted. So they're going to tell you what to put there, where, what information they need. And that's why, you know, with LinkedIn, it's a little bit more open-ended. So it gives you more time or more opportunity to sell yourself. So as I mentioned, while I will be spending time on the other portals, or have mentioned the other portals, LinkedIn is where I'm going to focus. So The tips with the portals, so your PNets, your Career Junctions, your Career 24s, while they're fields that you required to fill in, I'd say fill in everything. Give as much information as possible. And the reason for this is the more information, the more chance that somewhere there's going to be a keyword that when I'm doing a search, I'm going to pick up that word or phrase in your profile. So fill it all in, the compulsory fields and the mandatory fields. The mandatory is compulsory, and the optional fields, sorry. Go onto the portals regularly to check new jobs, update it, because when I, as a recruiter or a hiring manager, are doing a search on the portals, there's a little portion that tells me when last you were online. So if you were online yesterday, I know that you are an active job seeker. I know that if I pick up the phone to phone you, you're going to be keen on my job. So go to the portals, refresh your details, so that when I'm doing a search and I'm searching on, when last, most recent applicants, that you're going to be at the top of my search. This is what I just mentioned now. Go on regularly to get your job. Make sure your CV is searchable to everyone. So on some of the portals, so like I think it's Career Junction and PNet, they have an option that you can make your CV not searchable or not searchable to recruiters or that type of thing. Make your CV searchable to everyone. Again, it's what I said earlier, widen the net. You want to cast your net as wide as possible while you're searching for your perfect job, because the more people that see it, the more chance you're going to have of landing an interview. And take advantage of whatever your various portals offer you. So LinkedIn, Career Junction, Careers 24 all have alert features. So, if you're looking for a specific role, so, if I was looking for a role, I'd put out alerts for recruiter, for talent acquisition, for, HR recruiter, all of those different things, so that if those jobs come up, I'm alerted straight away, and then I can be some of the first applicants. Also, LinkedIn and the various portals will also give you tips on how to improve your profile. So I think, I don't know if they still have it like that, but LinkedIn used to call it an all-star profile. So go through it, add in the extra detail. It might seem time consuming, but at the end of the day, the more information, like I said, you have on your profile, the more likely that when I'm doing a keyword search for a role, that I'm going to find your CV. So what I think I forgot to mention earlier is because of the amount of applications we tend to get, when we put out a job ad, we'll do a what they call is a proactive search. So I'll go onto the portals, I'll go onto LinkedIn, and I'll go put in certain keywords for the role that I'm looking for. It'll be maybe a job title, a certain skill, a qualification, or a combination of those three things that I'm looking for, that I'll go pump into. So if there's a post by somebody in an industry, in the industry that you're interested in or working in, you might then notice it. So it might not necessarily be a job on the jobs board as such, but somebody could put something in there or put a post up saying, I'm looking for an electrical engineer, that they're not necessarily putting out a formal job ad. So if you've connected with people in your industry, you're more likely that somebody in your network might share that, and then you'll get notified to that post. Where if you don't connect with people in your industry and you don't widen your network, you won't see that information. So following with the next one, follow companies, content and those type of things. Also, when you're applying for jobs, if you're following a certain organization, they'll see that you're interested in what they do. So if I am the HR recruiter for a certain organization and I go into your profile and I see you follow us, then I can see that you actually have an interest in our organization. And then, make your intentions known. Let people know that you're on the market. LinkedIn had this whole drive now during the COVID pandemic, with hashtag #ONO, so open for new opportunities, where you can have that on your profile picture. So it alerts recruiters to the fact that you are in the job market. You want people to know that you're looking for a new role if you're actively looking. the profile picture, which we'll cover now, just now. So don't use an inappropriate profile. You want to keep professional. Don't fib or exaggerate. Check your spelling and grammar. Yeah, LinkedIn is a professional site, so it's not a social media site. It's not your Facebook or your Instagram. Use it as a professional portal for networking with individuals, and then don't rely on or use too much jargon or cliches. So you want to spell things out for people, because I might not, as a recruiter, necessarily understand all the jargons or cliches that a certain industry uses, and if you're using too much of that, I might miss your profile because I'm not seeing it. So what we're going to do, or what I'm going to look at now, is how to get your profile viewed. So as most people in life, everybody wants to get views. These are important views, because the more your profile is viewed, the more likely you are to land an interview, which will then lead you down the road to landing that perfect job. So this is what I did mention. Due to the high volumes, most recruiters will look at a proactive job search. So as I mentioned, a proactive job search is where we go to the portals and we actually look for, we look at our keywords and we match them to the job spec, and we go try and find candidates for the role. So the aim is to get your CV into my search results. So when I'm doing the search, you wanna be in the search results, preferably in the first 10 pages. So a keyword search, as I mentioned, is where we're gonna enter our keywords into the portal and get a suitable list of candidates. When putting together your profile, so now when we're looking at LinkedIn, when putting together your profile, what we want to do is optimize your profile so that you show up in searches. And I'm going to take you through a few little tips and tricks now on how to do that, and how to make sure that when I'm searching for a certain role, or when another recruiter is searching for a certain role and you're that individual, that your profile is going to come up. But as I did say, we're starting at the top. So let's look at the profile picture. So
Jackie, I'm quickly going to interrupt you before we go to the tips and tools. We have 3 questions that I think that we can address now. The first one is, while you say post our resume for everyone to research, that feels like a double-edged sword, as we do not want to alert current employers that we are open to entertain other offers. What do you suggest in that situation?
So some of the job portals actually have, I know PNet has it, where you can say open to everyone except, and you can literally put in your jobs, your company's name. So if your company is using PNet as a sourcing tool, they'll be one of PNet's clients. And if you type in your company's name as PNet's client, they won't be able to see your profile. On LinkedIn, then maybe don't put the banner that says open to new opportunities. I understand that. I understand it's difficult to like have your, you don't want to alert your new employer that you're looking for a role, but you also don't want to cut off your arms. So put your CV out there. The chances that you unless they go search for people in the specific company, they probably won't find it. And realistically, 90% of people's stuff is on a portal somewhere. So you can't not put your information out there. I mean, if you know specifically your client, your company uses Career Junction, then maybe skip Career Junction and put it on PNet, Careers24, and Indeed, and Executive Placements. But yeah, I would say put it out there. Just then, maybe on your LinkedIn profile, don't put the open to new opportunities banner. But you can still out there and keep your profile up to date. So that's what I can
maybe add to that, Jackie, to say that really that employers don't have time to go and snoop on the various profiles to see if you're open for another opportunity. So
exactly.
I think you can calm down.
Yeah, they don't have the time to go and search for every single employer or employee to see if they're on the job market. So like I say, it's very, unless they're literally searching for somebody that's working at Golden Key, they don't have the time to do that. So I agree with you, Naomi.
Okay, and then we have a middle manager in HR saying, she asked, how does one optimize your CV for a career change? She's busy pursuing a qualification in law and want to go into commercial law, but she applied for positions unsuccessfully.
So I think I'll cover that coming up on
Okay.
how to do the keyword searches, on what to add in. So you're going to put up different keyword searches, because if you're in HR at the moment, your whole CV is going to be geared towards HR. So if I'm searching for somebody in the legal profession, I might not be finding your CV because when I'm doing a keyword search, it's coming up as HR, not necessarily as legal.
And then there are more questions, but just one more for now. Considering how much of scams there are nowadays, how do you know that the job alerts are legit?
So if they're coming through PNet and Career Junction and Careers 24, they're probably legit, because people pay money to put their jobs up there. If it's a job alert through some strange job site that you've never heard of, I'd be a little bit more cautious. I'm not going to slam any names or mention anything that I don't think is legit, because I'm not getting into trouble like that. But if you've gone onto LinkedIn, if you've gone onto your common portal, so your PNet, your Career Junction, Careers 24, executive placements, that site will send you a job alert. So it will be legit, because somebody has loaded that job on that site, and we pay money to put our jobs onto those portals. So yeah, if it's coming from a PNet or something like that, then they're legit. I would look at it twice if it's some strange portal.
Thank you, Jackie. Over to you again.
Oh, thank you, Almi. So looking at your LinkedIn profile, like I said, I'm going to start at the top. The picture, I've used my own for copy purposes. I'm not copying anyone's pictures. I'm not saying my picture's perfect, but it just gives you the example. It doesn't need to be a professionally taken photo to look professional. So you don't have to go pay someone to take a photo of you. It just needs to be, not too busy. A head and shoulders, so we don't need to see the bottom half of you, literally just your head and shoulders, your pretty smiling face, a neutral background with decent lighting, so not too many shadows, and not a busy background, so you don't want to be outside where it's trees and, or you know what I mean. Look approachable, so smile, even though you don't love smiling for photos, smile for it, because I'm connecting with the person or the photo that I see. So smile, look approachable, because this is essentially your first impression that you're making on us. So yeah, in a nutshell, it doesn't need to be like a fancy photo just to look professional, but just make it count. So the headline, and this is where you can use, so for the question I had with regards to changing career focus. So the headline is the second section underneath your job title. So here you need to keep those keywords in mind to optimize your search. So it's more than just your job title. So you're going to look at more than just, in the case of a graduate or a recent graduate, put things in that, focus on the role that you're looking for, focus on the skills that you have. Try not to put like seeking employment or unemployed or something like that. So for me, I would put my job title is a senior associate, but in my headline, I would put talent management, talent acquisition, recruiter, those type of things. So here's where you can focus, where, when I'm doing a search, that different words will come up. So some examples of that are, in the finance sector, somebody could put senior bookkeeper, junior accountant, financial administrator, a qualification. There's that open to new opportunities hashtag, and their job title might be any one of these things, but those are the opportunities that they're open to. So when this individual is doing a search, or when I'm doing a search, this individual might come up in my search, whether I'm searching for a combination of those words or titles. So yeah, business visionary, business management consultant, those type of things, financial services, motor industry, recruiter, salesperson, mentor, or, you know, maybe you're in the food safety, food technologist. So play around with the different ways or the different titles that your job could have. So remember, not all jobs are called the same thing. So don't just look at it from your organization or your perspective. Look at it from, you know, a broader perspective. Maybe do a little bit of research and see what you do could be called in another organization and then list them there. So this is all part of that keyword optimization. So when I'm searching for different things, I'm going to pull up your CV. So the summary section or the about section, please do not leave this section blank. It's that short little paragraph section that you have after your profile, and that where this is like the cover letter that we discussed last week. You know, this is your little intro point. So don't leave it blank, but make sure that it's worth my time reading or worth a recruiter's time reading. Don't just copy and paste your CV in here though. So you want to take this section to highlight your professional interests. So what it is you're looking for in an organization, highlight your skills. You want to keep it short, clean, and factual. So 1 to 2, or maybe 3 paragraphs will suffice. This is the section that, you know, you want to see as your elevator pitch, to highlight what is the most important things about you that you could tell somebody in under 30 seconds. So this is what I do, this is what I want, and these are some of my accomplishments. So, you know, nice, clean, and to the point, but, you know, eye-catching as well. And then again, you want to keep your keywords in mind. So you're going to repeat some of the words that are maybe in your headline. So repeat again, you know, the type of role you're looking for, you know, maybe your qualification or something like that. So those are the keywords that you're going to keep in mind, so that when a recruiter is doing a search and they're pumping in those keywords into their Boolean search, they're going to bring out, you know, their portal's going to bring out your profile to the top of my list. Yeah, so also try and avoid, you know, your buzzwords or your cliches, so that it doesn't seem like, you know, just a Google search type thing. So what we're aiming for, and I keep on saying the word keyword, I'm going to say it so many times tonight that it's going to start sounding funny, but what we're aiming for is keyword density. So what that means, it's the percentage of times a keyword or a phrase appears on this web page to the total number of words. So if you are a talent manager or a recruiter, you want talent management and recruitment to be in your profile quite a lot of times, because the more it's in there, the more likely your profile is to be pulled up to the top of the search. So in context, so, you know, it's very complicated, but your search engine optimization, excuse me, your keyword density is going to determine whether your page is relevant to my search or not. So the more times you use certain words or phrases that are related to your role and related to your job, the more likely your profile is going to come up when I'm searching for a specific role. So if I'm searching for an HR manager, if those type of roles or keywords are in the profile a lot, more likely that I'm going to bring them up. So just some examples. So here you can see in this profile a driven BA, so business analyst that uses technical specifications to pass UAT. So these are all buzzwords that would be, or, you know, keywords that would be in a job spec. So business analyst, technical specifications, UAT. So these are different type of tests, so user acceptance testing, that's all in there. And then you can include sort of like specialities like clear communication again. So you'll see user acceptance testing is mentioned 3 times in this example. So that's an example of your keyword density, that if I'm looking for a business analyst with that sort of skill, if I'm using that as one of my keywords, I'm more than likely going to see this profile, as well as technical specifications. Another example, this one's quite long as well, but customer centric, you're looking at mentioning companies they've worked for. Here they've mentioned, strategy, customer partnering, sales management, process improvement. So these are all things, again, that you might mention during your job description. So where you've been involved with sales management, you've improved processes and all of this, but it's in the summary profile as well. So that as a recruiter, when I'm searching for it, more than likely going to bring up your profile. Let's look at the work history now. So your work history, you want to have sort of mirror your CV. Sorry, I'm talking a lot, so my throat is dry. So you want to have this kind of complement your CV. So you're going to use your LinkedIn profile to grab our attention. It's going to complement your CV. Both your CV and your LinkedIn page must look the same, please. So you're going to have the same job titles, you're going to have the same date ranges, and you're going to have the same basic information on each portal. So that if I get your CV and I'm looking at your LinkedIn profile, I'm not going, am I sure this is the same person? Because this information is not the same. You want to have it look the same. The same as in your CV. Use bullet points to list your skills. So it's just easier to read. It's going to be easier for me to look through. And then pick up the phone and make a call. You want to always list your achievements and accomplishments. So when I've gotten onto your profile, I want to see what you've done well, where you've added value, where you've achieved. So like I mentioned earlier, this is your opportunity to boast about yourself. Even though it feels a little bit awkward, take this opportunity, use this platform to build your brand and show us the awesome person that you are. For your graduates, and maybe people that are starting out in their career, if you don't have a lot of work history, add in your volunteering history or your VAC work or stuff like that, just so that we can see what you've done. Don't leave the section blank if you don't have any work history. So add in as much information as you can. And then obviously with regards to education, I want to see all of your qualifications as well as certification. So qualification in the sense of your formal tertiary education, so your degrees, your honors degrees, your master's degrees, your doctorates, etc. But then I also want to see certification. So anything that's relevant that you've completed, LinkedIn Learning qualifications as well that are relevant to the job that you do, add those in. It adds value because I might again be searching for a certain role that is looking for something specific, and it might be in one of the certifications that you did, which will then bring up your profile for me. An example, it's straightforward. So LinkedIn prompts you, put in obviously the tertiary wherever you did the university or college or technicon that you've studied at, your degree and your major, and then when you've completed it, and if it is complete obviously, and any other qualifications down to matric. People think matric isn't important, but strangely enough people do ask for matric. With regards to the skills section, so the skills section on LinkedIn, you use to focus, again, you're going to use this to add on for your keyword density. So add in your top 10 skills and ask people for endorsements. So you'll see the little number next to it. It's an endorsement. So your colleagues, your co-workers or people within your network, clients, people you've worked with in the past, ask them to endorse you. So if you've listed your top 10 or however many skills, ask people to endorse you, because then that'll help me see that, oh, okay, yes, you do know what you're talking about. LinkedIn also has a skills test, but it's more in the technical line for like people in the IT field, that you can take this skills test and then it'll rate you and it'll come up here. So if there's a certain sort of more technical software or something like that, it'll give you a skills test, and then it'll show up on your profile saying this is how much you've done for that. With regards to recommendations, again, ask for them. So if there's people you've worked with in the past, or colleagues, again, clients, maybe you've worked on a project with somebody, ask for the recommendation, because it's nice. It's kind of like a little mini reference at the bottom of your profile, where it adds on to that little bit about boasting and showing off a little bit. It feels horrible to do it sometimes. Some people have no issue doing it, but most people I've found, it's like that horrible question, tell me about yourself. So take this time to have somebody else tell me about you, and that's where these recommendations are great. So it's somebody else telling me how you do your job, how you've performed, and it's a wonderful little thing to add into your profile. And again, it's probably going to add into the keywords, because somewhere in there it's going to say you've worked on, so mine mention recruitment and those type of things. So if somebody's doing a search, they'll pick up my profile because recruitment, talent management, those type of things are coming up a lot. With regards to accomplishments, so again, put them in. I want to see them in your job description as well. But here's places where maybe you've gotten a certificate for something. Here you can put in academic accomplishments. So if you've been on the Dean's Merit List, if you're a Golden Key, all of those type of things you can add in here. And here you can also add in different courses. So if you've done some courses that aren't necessarily through an accredited university or something like that, but it's a short course, you can put them in here because it's also going to add value to your profile. List your languages, and then obviously organizations. So organizations and affiliations, please, or associations, put them in. So if you're a SICA member, if for the legal guys, if you're part of legal education and development, if you're part of recruitment, so APSO, and Golden Key, we want to see that. It's a very, very nice thing to see on people's profiles, because we as recruiters understand what it means to be a Golden Key member. So it's really a little feather in your cap. So put it in there. Then with regards to students, there are some student portals that you can specifically focus on. So I did touch on this last time briefly as well. I don't necessarily use all of these portals. Almi, I'm nearly done, so we can then move on to questions from here. Okay. So these two student portals are specifically for students, so focused on students, where you can go upload your profile. So there are certain organizations that are looking for recent graduates or people with certain degrees and qualifications. They'll then go look on these type of portals. So, having not necessarily have a lot of job or work experience, you might get noticed on these profiles as well. Almi, over to you, or over to our members, so that we can pump out some of the questions.
Hi, Jackie. I'm going to attempt this now.
No problem, Marika.
Okay, we have a couple of questions. Okay, you said now about Leaply. So one of the questions was, is Leaply automatic CV generator worthwhile?
Like I said, I don't know the portal very, very well. So a friend of mine notified me of these and said it would be valuable to tell, students or graduates about it. But try it. I mean, if you generate the CV and you like the way it looks, then use it. There's maybe things you can use out of that CV when building another CV. So, use all of the tools you have to your disposal, especially if it's free. So if it's free and they offer it, use it. There's no harm. You don't have to use the CV. You can maybe just extract data out of it to put together something else.
Okay, and then which sites can you use if you want to apply for jobs internationally? Would you know of any sites like that?
Not specifically. No, not off the top of my head. You'd have to go look. There are certain agencies. Maybe go do a little bit of homework. So there's certain agencies that focus specifically on international placement. Maybe go look at that. That might also, build a relationship with a recruiter that focuses on international recruitment. Might be a better chance of you getting a role aboard. Okay.
When is someone overqualified for a job? For example, if you have if you've completed a 3-year course and you do your honors, and have no job experience, what can you do to increase your chances to get an interview?
Well, it depends on. I don't think having completed your degree and then your honors degree makes you overqualified for something. You're just going to have to tailor your profile. So look at the type of roles you're looking for. It's, give me more information. What are you doing? What do you want to do? You're more than welcome to touch base with me afterwards as well, so I can help you sort of, put together a few keywords and searches and things like that. But focus on your degree, focus on the skills that you have, and then look at grad opportunities. So look at the organizations that are willing to employ graduates in your field, and go and put your CV out wherever you can. So again, it might feel like a lot, but spread your net as wide as possible. Put it out everywhere, and then play with job titles, or like on the LinkedIn, the headline. So don't just put recent graduate, because recent graduate of what? So recent financial management graduate, looking for a junior accounting role, stuff like that. So you want to put that type of information in your LinkedIn profile, so that when I'm searching, if I search recent graduate, I'm not necessarily going to bring up a profile. But if I'm looking for a junior accountant, I might, that with a financial management degree, then I might find your profile.
Right, Jackie, I
Right.
just want to say that, this is the great thing about Golden Key members. We learn from each other. Tuloganyo Kodisang commented in the chat function, I've used Leaply. It does generate a CV for you, and I've since received an invitation to apply for a job through Leaply. So
Awesome.
that's a living example for those
Great.
who...
Yeah, like I said, and that's what I meant by spreading your net. So if you're a graduate, these portals are specifically for graduates. So take advantage of something that's trying to help you. So whether it's Leaply or UStudent or something like that, put your information on there. If it's generating a CV for you, that saves you a little bit of effort, because it's it's time consuming uploading your details onto all of these portals.
Okay, next question. I'm also a second-year student studying in town planning. I'm interested in doing a job shadowing, leadership. How can I go about this?
Yeah, learnership jobs.
Internship, yeah.
Learnership. Yeah,
learnership, sorry.
Yeah, look for companies that offer this. It's a field I'm not familiar with, so I can't advise you on which organizations to go to. But maybe look at your put together a list of the top 5 companies you'd like to work for, and approach them. Find out who the HR manager is, or that type of thing, and say you'd like to do a job shadow. Some organizations have that as part of something that they offer, where you can come on board and then shadow somebody during your vacation time. Maybe speak to someone on campus if they maybe have, or a lecturer or something like that. They might have some information on organizations that you could approach, in that field. That's what I'm saying. I'm not familiar with town planning at all, so I don't know who you would approach, or organizations wise, but that's the best advice I can give you. Give yourself a top 5 who I'd like to work for, and see if you can approach someone within that organization with regards to a job share.
I'm going to summarize 2 questions, and that is in terms of LinkedIn. If you're currently studying towards a degree, which part do you put on LinkedIn? Or do you at all put it on LinkedIn?
Yes.
So, for instance, you're looking for an internship, or you're looking for a vacation work. Yes. Okay, Jackie?
Yes. So if you're studying, if you're still studying your degree, you're still going to put it in your education section, but you're just not going to say completed. So it'll then say current, or busy with, or that type of thing. So put it in, if I'm understanding correctly. So if you are still studying, you're going to add in that qualification. The only time I'd say don't put it in is if you did, a first year of biochemistry, and then you left it, and then you went and, did your degree that you're now. You can leave off the first year biochemistry. I don't need to see that because it's irrelevant. But if you're in your second year, you're planning on completing that degree, put it in there and show me that, you can just put there second year. still studying. Yeah.
Thank you. Marika.
Sorry, I was busy with something. When setting up a CV, how many pages would be best for it not to be too long?
Yeah, see, it's so hard to say, but I think, you know, on average, a good CV, it's usually about 4 pages, 4 or 5 pages. Longer than that, you know, when you're going to, you know, 9, 10 pages, it becomes a bit laborious. But yeah, on average, most CVs are about 4 to 5 pages. There's no golden rule. So if yours is 6 pages, you're not going to be screened out. But, you know, and if you have a really long career and it's 7 pages, but, you know, and if it's only 2 pages, it's fine as well. But on average, somebody with, you know, 5 to 6 years working experience, it'll probably be about 4 to 5 pages long. Somewhere around there.
Jackie, what would you suggest for a final student? Who do they put on as recommendations or references?
You know, I've had people use lecturers as references. You know, your tutors, your what are those? Your mentors, or those type of things. So those type of people. It doesn't necessarily have to talk about, you know, a work experience. It can tell me about you as an individual, a project you've been involved with. So yeah, I've had a lot of students use mentors or lecturers or yeah, that type of individual as either a reference or a recommendation. Yeah.
Okay.
If you
obviously, if you have a relationship with that person and they know who you are.
If you fall into multiple careers like software engineering and IT, do you show that you are versatile, or should you just focus on the one career path?
I would throw it back to you. What do you want to do? So if you have the experience, and we're obviously show your experience, but if you're building your LinkedIn profile to get a certain job, what role do you want? So if you have, you know, software engineering and IT experience, but you want to go the software engineering route, maybe focus your about section and your headline on the role that you want, that's in relation to the experience that you have.
Okay. As a pharmacy student, which type of courses can I complete to make my CV more likable? I'm assuming that is the courses that's available on LinkedIn.
I don't know.
I would say that's a bit of a tricky one for you. Yes,
it's a tricky one for me because it's completely out of my wheelhouse. I'm not familiar with pharmaceutical industry as much, so it's hard for me to tell you which courses to do because I'll be lying.
Almi, maybe you can answer that one.
Well, I have a tip on that because I've done many things in my life that I'm not necessarily have a great CV to support that, but I've done it. I think what is important is to research your market and see what are the trends in your market and how do they do it. The first thing that come to mind for me is how do they use artificial intelligence in pharmacy. So do you know that? Do you know how to actually, do you understand it? How does this whole economy work now when people do not come to the pharmacy, but they actually, everything gets delivered at home. So that's, I think, an important part for you to look at, artificial intelligence and the role of the fourth industrialization revolution. And the second thing I think you should look at is what other categories of health workers do they bring in these days? For instance, what is the role of the pharmacy assistant? And what is it that you can do to put you above that kind of category for you to stand out? So I hope that helps. But do research in what is it in your specific career that changes and what are the latest demands.
Thanks, Almi.
Okay. Another question: how helpful is the premium LinkedIn account as compared to a free account?
as a job searcher,
Is it worthwhile?
Yeah, as a job searcher, I'd say you could just get away just fine with the free account. Don't pay for anything you don't need to unnecessarily. I think if you put together the information, properly, and lay it out nicely for me, I've never actually even noticed the difference. I don't know if any of the candidates that I've searched for on LinkedIn have a premium versus a free account. I really think the premium is more geared towards someone like me or an organization or a recruiter or a hiring manager using the portal, because the premium account has more features for me to search. But then again, also there's ways to get around that. So as a job searcher, your free account is all you need.
Okay, I have been applying in various companies with no response. How can I know what to improve?
Marika.
Sorry, Marika is breaking up. Let me just find the question that
I'm assuming you want to know what to improve on your profile to get a response.
Yes, sorry, my internet is a bit unstable. I'll just ask the question again. I've been applying in various companies with no response. How can I know how can I know what to improve in my CV and motivational letter?
Again, very hard to say, because I don't know who you're applying to or the type of roles. All the advice I can give you is look at the type of roles you're applying for. Are they relevant to your skills and experience and your qualification? So when I say spread the net and have your CV everywhere, don't apply for everything that doesn't necessarily apply to you, that's not applicable to you. Try and keep it as relevant as possible. If we were part of last week's session, when you're putting together your job, your profile and your CV, look at being job specific. So try, especially your cover letter, try not to have as a generic cover letter. Make it known that you've actually done the research, you've done the homework, and that you are suitable for the role. Because if you've done the research, your skills match, your qualifications match, you will have a high chance of being shortlisted for the role. Sorry, my brain froze there like Marika's internet did.
Right, here's another one. I've spent a number of years in automotive and want to move into banking. Okay. I have an industrial engineering qualification and completed a qualification in robotic process automation. Sure. But I'm not sure if recruiters in the banking sector would even look at my profile.
It's hard to say. It depends on what type of role you're looking for in banking. So are you still technical in the banking space? They might. It depends on the type of roles you're applying for. Again, it's really hard for me not knowing I'm sure if you're looking for a technical role in the banking space, because you sound pretty technical, the robotics and all of that, then you should be able to do that. Again, build your profile. So if you've been focused in the automotive industry, try and steer, especially maybe your headings and your summaries and those type of things, more towards keywords that would be used in the banking sector and keywords for the role that you want. Remember, you're using that section in your LinkedIn profile for the role that you want. Even when you're applying for a role and you're using your cover letter, build your cover letter around the role that you're applying for, related to the experience that you have, because I'm pretty sure that some of the technical experience that you've gained should be, if you're applying for like a technical, and when I say technical, probably like IT type role, you might be able to cross-pollinate that into that. So use those sections to focus on the roles that you're looking for. Use your headlines to focus on the type of jobs. Do your research. So the type of job titles that are going to that you're looking for. So don't necessarily just use your headline with your previous job titles. Put in what you want to do and the roles that you want to get.
I see
Noticed.
we do have a couple of questions of people asking from various professions, where do I find an organization that will employ me? So do you want to address the kind of which organization will match your skills? Maybe that's a better phrasing. It's different. There are different ones on that.
Yeah, I think sure. It's quite broad. So, you know, it's, I don't know. Elmi, how your take on it? I think for me, like you're gonna have to, an organization necessarily matching your skills is one thing. So you're looking at the type of role. When you're looking at an organization, do your values match the organization that the organization's values? Is it a company that you want to work for, that you can see yourself working for, with regards to organization? When it's with regards to a role, so you can have the same role within various organizations. You know, it depends on matching your skill to the type of role that you're recruiting for, or that they're recruiting for. So I can be a recruiter in various organizations. I'm going to highlight my skills and my experience to try and get noticed by the hiring manager. So I'm going to notice, I'm going to try and highlight, you know, what I'm good at, where I've succeeded, in order to get noticed by an organization.
There's another question on Leaply. I don't know whether somebody else have experience, whether they only focus on jobs or also internships. I think we have to look into it.
Yeah, I think we'd have to look into it. Or yeah, because I'm not an expert on that one at all.
And then there's one on salary. That's an interesting one that we haven't addressed. How does one increase their chances of getting considered for roles when they've priced themselves out of the market? Salaries at my level of experience, 7 years, are often much lower than what I currently earn. I do not want to be tied down to a job merely for that reason.
So if you're willing to compromise on your salary, maybe don't put it on your profile. I know it's a double-edged sword. I'm telling you to do as much information as possible, but I have had candidates that maybe, you know, on your careers portal, so your BNet, your careers junctions, all of that, you don't necessarily have to put your salary amount. So maybe, you know, omit it if you feel like that's your stumbling block. If you are willing to compromise, so if you're willing to compromise on a salary and you are willing to take the salary cut in order to move to a different organization, then leave it out and have a discussion with the hiring manager or your recruiter with regards to that, as to reasons why. I mean, I've had lots of candidates that would move for either a lateral move or a little less because they're after the experience and not necessarily the monetary gain. So I think if that's what you're feeling is your biggest stumbling block, then put it, there's a little checkbox on Career Junction or what that says you're looking at a market related salary. Say that you're looking at a market related salary. I hate that, but because I like to see what people earn. But if you feel like that's your biggest stumbling block, just say market related.
There's a question from a person who asked, which companies and where do you find companies that offer vacation work for finance and investment management students? And I want to jump in here and say, make sure your profile is updated on Golden Key, because we send approximately on a monthly basis advertisements out on behalf of these companies, for instance, PwC, Netbank, and many others, who are looking for Golden Key members to come and do vacation work or internships. So make sure that your profile is updated, that you do receive those adverts and call for CVs. Yes, I think that's important. Then there's
yeah, you've actually mentioned the companies that would do it. So your big audit firms. So coming from a finance recruitment background, I've seen a lot of candidates that do their back work at PwCs, your EYs, Deloitte, you know, all of those. And Almi's given you very, very valuable information. It's the networks you have as well. So now you know, update your profile with Golden Key, because these organizations will go to somebody like Almi and say, I want some of your members. That's what I'm saying. Put it on your LinkedIn profile as well, because organizations want people that have, you know, that are Golden Key members.
okay. So, Marega, you can run.
Okay, I see one. I recently qualified as a CA, and my previous role was as an audit supervisor. I've since moved to be a financial reporting accountant, but would like to move back into the audit overseas once COVID blows over. Would updating my profile to accountant exclude me from searches for auditors?
No, because in your maybe I would say remember, you're going to update your job title to reporting accountant. In the headline, you can put auditor, those type of things, audit manager, audit supervisor. So that's that section just under your profile. You're going to see where it gives you the options, and you can put in your summary section that although you are in a financial, you know, auditing position at the moment, you are looking to, you know, do audit supervise or audit work overseas. And you're more than welcome to contact me afterwards, because I know a few agencies that deal specifically in placing auditors abroad.
Is it worth doing the courses on LinkedIn? Is it widely recognized, as well as the technical questionnaires?
I don't know about recognized, but yes, I think it's worth it. I think it's worth to add to your profile if it's relevant to what you want to do. So I think the technical questionnaires, yes. So if you're in a technical field, and their technical questionnaires will then give somebody an idea of your proficiency on a certain, you know, platform or thing. And yeah, I think, you know, anything we can do to improve our knowledge on our industry is worthwhile. It shows me that you're interested in what you're doing. So if there are those courses that you can do, so I mean, there's courses I can do on talent management and all of that. It just increases your knowledge. You know, things change, you know, daily, weekly, in a lot of professions. So it's just showing that you're keeping up to date with the trends in your profession.
Right. Then there's one that says he's studying quantity surveying and completed it, but I don't want to pursue QS anymore. I've started to study towards finance through CFA.
Okay.
But I don't have any qualifications or experience in finance. How do you go about it, and what can you put in the skills section? Is it better to look for internships, because most portals require recently graduate finance students?
I'd say perhaps look at an internship or something like that to try and increase your skills in that field. I think that's, yeah, a good way of going about it, definitely.
Yep.
I'm currently doing my master's, and I just wanted to know, how soon should I start applying for jobs if I intend to get a job after my master's?
If you're finishing it this year, so I would say if you were going to finish it at the end of 2020, we're in October, anytime now. So we're mid-October, heading into November. A job search can take, somewhat quick, but it doesn't always happen that quickly, but it can be like a longer process. And even if you get into a role into an interview process with an organization, the hiring process can take a few weeks as well. So I'd say start now to say that, you know, if you were going to look for something in the new year, now would be a good time.
Okay, as a psychology honors graduate, I'm confused on where I can look for some relevant work experience in the industry, as one needs to be a registered psychologist to work. Do you think volunteering is my only option?
It's a very difficult profession if you don't have if you're not registered, because obviously, you know, HPCSA, there's all of these rules and regulations. But yes, volunteering would probably be the best way to gain experience. Speak to the institution that you're studying through. Maybe they have some contacts where you can volunteer at, you know, some places. I know when I was doing my honors, we volunteered at a community center type thing. So where we worked with a psychologist that was affiliated with the university, and we went in like once a week and gained some, you know, volunteer work while we were studying our honors.
In the recruiting process, it feels that my CV doesn't get past the bot stage. How do I get my CV approved
By the automated
system?
So it's again
at a company.
Yeah, sorry, Marika. Yeah, so it's your ATS, your tracking system. So that's where the keywords are important. So again, even though you're applying through the portal or onto, you know, the company's website directly, the recruiter's still got to pull up your CV. Still going to do a search. So that's why the keywords are important. There was actually there's a few websites, I forget them now, that focus on getting past the bot as such. Try to do, so it touches into last week's thing a bit, is keeping it plain, like not as much pictures and those type of things, because these systems are literally extracting information. So when I, for example, even on the CRM that I use, when I pull a CV in, if there's too many images and graphics and stuff, it literally sometimes doesn't even pull out the name. So you want to do, I know people say it's boring and to look at, but for those type of systems, try and use as plain CV as possible, so that when that system's extracting the information, that it pulls out the right information into the right places.
If we try to complete our honors and midway through decided to instead end studying for whatever reason and subsequently went into the job market thereafter, how do we show this gap, and is it necessary to show it?
You know, it'll probably come up in an interview. You can bring it up there that, you know, you can put it on your CV. I don't think it's really that, you know, it'll come up in an interview. If somebody wants to know what you were doing for those 6 months, they're going to ask you. So you can put it up there. I mean, if you were studying for 10 years maybe and were out of the job market, then left it, and, you know, it's a massive gap, you would then want to explain it. But I mean, if you started your honors degree this year and halfway through left it and then joined the job market, it wouldn't be a major crisis for you to not put that on. You could easily, when chatting with a recruiter or a hiring manager, explain that short
time. I think we've lost Marika.
Right.
What are the most important things to mention on the cover letter?
So go. You can hop back to last week's session, because I covered the cover letter in quite detail. So I think it is up on the Golden Key, the Golden Keys website.
Yes,
because there's quite a bit. There's quite a bit to cover on the cover letter. So is that fine, Elmi?
Yes, perfect. It's on YouTube, Golden Keys Southern Africa, and you can find the recording there. And I think actually the second one is the same. How do you make your profile look competitive as a final year student or recent graduate, currently studying third year civil engineering?
Yeah, so I think it's focusing on, so touch on the roles that you're looking for. So as a grad, don't just put in recent grad, don't put in seeking employment and those type of things, because you want to, besides making your profile look competitive, you want to be found in a search. So you're going to put in the roles you're looking for, and I feel like I've said this already, but you're going to look at the job title. If you're not working, put in the job title that you want. So say recent graduate, civil engineer, that type of thing. In your headline, put on the jobs that you want. It's research, it's homework, it's a lot of work looking for a job, because if you need to put in a lot of effort, and the more effort you put in, the more likely your profile is going to be seen. But you can also, hop back to last week's session. I did cover a bit on grads and what grads can put in their profiles on, how to, beef it up a little bit and make it look a little bit more exciting as such.
Right, and there's another question on what do you put in to improve your chances of being employed? How do you stand out above the rest? This one is about a person who majored in economics and pursuing a master's in anthropology. I think you've answered this, but yeah.
Yeah. I think I've touched those. Also, if you want to, like I said earlier, and it's difficult for a lot of us to boast about yourself, but put in those achievements. If you want to stand out, put in something that makes you stand out. So if you have academic achievements, put them in there. Say that you got 23 distinctions in your third year, that your dean's merit, that you've got this, that you've got put in there, brag a bit. It's the only way you're going to if you don't give me the information, I won't know it. So yeah, try and boast as much about yourself honestly as possible. So I don't want lies. Give me honest information, but yeah, the good stuff.
And don't forget to mention that you're a Golden Key International Honor Society member.
Yes, mine is in my summary. It's in my accomplishments. It's there. And I can tell you now, I was retrenched this year. And when I changed my profile a bit and I put that information in there, I very much believe that helped me get a new job.
Absolutely. I think it's very important that people look at that. And then we have an interesting question. I'm in a small profession. I'm in allied healthcare as an audiologist. Do small fields make use of recruiters?
Probably, because it would be something specialist. So yeah, there's gonna be a specialist. There's technical recruiters and specialist recruiters that will use it. And even if they don't, even if the recruiter doesn't, so remember, you're not necessarily just building your LinkedIn profile for a recruiter. A hiring manager might do it, because you don't have to pay to use LinkedIn as an individual. So as a hiring manager, I can still go on LinkedIn and search for somebody in that field. You just have a limited search if you're not using a paid LinkedIn. So if you beef up your profile in a small profession, whether a recruiter specializing in that field or a hiring manager will then see your profile, because then they're going to look for somebody in that field.
Jackie, this one is back on the salary. It says, how do you deal with the recruiters, hiring managers who tell you that your salary expectation is too high, solely based on what your current salary is, even if what you are asking for is market related?
So you have to, yeah. I suppose it depends from organization to organization. As a recruiter, I'm going to try and get the best salary for my candidate as possible, because that's, mutually beneficial for both of us. There are times where I've come across people that they are way out of market with their current earning, and even a new employer will know that, some organizations it's easy, because certain organizations have bands. So a certain level of role earns a certain band. So if you're way under that, you'll be pushed up to that band. But then again, if you're over it, it's difficult for an organization to push somebody into a different salary band, because that takes them into a different role. So then they'll be earning more than their manager. Take it by case, discuss it with the person that you're dealing with, but also be realistic. I say to my candidates, when it comes to salary, and salary is a tricky thing, because we all have an idea of what we want. So you have to have your ideal range, but you also have to know what is your minimum. So know what is the lowest salary that you'll accept for a certain role, and give yourself a range. Don't pin yourself onto one number, because that, that's kind of going to polarize you. Be a little bit flexible when it comes to salary. Know that you might not always get what you want, and people are going to always reference your current salary, but motivate why you don't feel like your current salary is market related. I mean, you have more than enough right to do that, and you should have a good recruiter that will, if you're working through an agent, that will stand with you and will be able to motivate that for you as well. So yeah, it's a tricky one. I've had it before. It is tough, and people do like to look at a current salary, but yeah, there are ways and means around it.
And then, does one have a right to withhold current payslip from a future employer?
I suppose so. I've had people that don't like to give it up front, which is understandable. So, but there comes a point where I don't know why everyone asks for it. Everybody wants the payslip to know, obviously where you're at. So I don't think there's a hard and fast rule that will force you to give a payslip. It's not law, but in general, most people are going to ask for it. So when you get to a certain level within your job search, or a certain stage within your job search, sometimes they just ask for it and they don't even look at it, because they're going to give you an offer of what we've asked for. But yeah, you don't have to give it, but it's kind of frowned upon not to.
Okay, I think this is also in connection with it. What is the best way to propose a salary looking for when asked in an interview, other than saying market related?
That's why I'm saying give a range. So have an idea of, you as Marika know that you have rent to pay, you have a car, and you need to eat, and feed your cat. So you have those things, and then obviously you maybe want to go out for dinner once or twice a month. So you have an idea of a number that you want. So you need to determine your number and then give a range. So that's what I'm saying, don't in an interview say, I want 20,000 Rand a month. Not a cent more, not a cent less. Know that I want 20,000 Rand a month. I can work on 18,000 Rand a month, but ideally I'd love 25. So I'd look between 18 and 23, probably end up on the sweet spot of 20. So give a range. Or look at 20 to 25, and maybe if they come back at 19, you'll still take it. But know what your absolute minimum is for a role, that, because it doesn't help taking a job that you can't afford, in a sense. So you've accepted this role, you take it, but you can't afford to get to work after you've been paid. So, have your range, but don't be unrealistic in being willing to negotiate. So obviously we want the highest we can get, but know where your breathing room, give yourself room. So if asked for an interview, always give a range. That's the advice I'll always give my candidates. Give a range.
Should you try to aim for working with well-known companies because they are better known, or should you rather work in better roles within a smaller company?
I think that's a personal choice. I look for a lot more things than that when I'm in my job search. So it's not necessarily the organization. So it's not necessarily just the name. A name is great, but look at, where do you align with this organization? What can they give to you? So maybe sometimes a smaller organization might be able to offer you more flexibility than a bigger organization. In certain roles, smaller organizations will offer you more hands-on experience. So bigger organizations, certain roles are siloed. So even in finance, for example, if you go into a company, you only do this section of finance or recruitment or HR, whereas in a smaller organization, you might get a broader range of experience, because you're expected to do a larger portion of the function because it is smaller. So you're going to get more exposure within a certain field. So I think that's a very personal choice, and you'd have to do your homework on what you're looking for out of the role at the end of the day.
I just want to comment on the quantity surveyor question. Again, we learn
Yes.
from one another. Another person said that do the certified cost professional course, CCP, and then venture into finance through that route. So thank you very much for that.
Oh, that's nice. Yeah. Yay.
What do you do when you have no experience for a job you're applying for, but have experience in something similar? For example, say you want to apply for a translator position, but you only have experience as a transcriber.
I think then you're gonna relate it, because if it is similar like that, you will be able to motivate in your cover letter, or perhaps what you can do. So a tip I could give you is, when you're writing your CV, so you've obviously looked at the job spec for the translator. There's going to be functions in that translator role that you've done in your transcribing experience. So list that in the transcribing experience that will sort of marry the two, because then when I'm looking at your CV, even though it says transcriber and not translator, if I'm reading your job description, I'll see that there's, certain similarities.
Is it advisable for one to mention their involvement in the organization as a union shop steward?
I don't think it makes a difference. It's not a negative. I've never seen it on a CV, but I don't. Yeah, if you want to mention it on the CV, great. Yeah, mention it.
And then a final one. I have completed my MBA. Is it recommended to add it into my LinkedIn profile, and under which banner heading?
Yes, please add on your LinkedIn profile that you've completed your MBA. You can add it into your education. So you're going to add it in there, that MBA completed, and then put it in your summary and your about section. So add in there, because remember, your about section is about you and your achievements and your highlights, your career highlights. So add into your about section, recently completed my MBA through whatever institution and that type of thing. So I'd add it in the about section as well.
Right. I think we have covered most of the questions. There's one in the chat box that I will make an exception for. The person is majoring in industrial psychology, second-year student, looking for an internship next year. What advice would you give me for the field of work performance analyst in South Africa? And I think we have addressed it, but maybe you still want to say something about it, Jackie?
About trying to get an internship for next year?
Yes.
Because I'm not sure about work performance analyst. I think, again, approach the type of organizations you're gonna, with your internship, approach perhaps your institution as well. So the institution is going to try and help you. Maybe, I'm not sure if Golden Key is ever approached by these type of things. Go do your, maybe the HPCSA's website, see if there aren't organizations that list that they are, doing internships or taking on interns, and then get to know your field. There's a lot of organizations that do it. So get in touch. But I think definitely the contact someone in your institution. They should be able to point you in the right direction. A lecturer or a mentor should be able to tell you, where you can go specifically for the psychology internship.
So I'm seriously going to do the last two questions now. The one from Puling and the one from Litlogonolo. Puling, I've been trying to switch from mainstream food science to consulting, so much that I pursued a postgraduate diploma in business administration. How can I convince hiring managers that this is a career path that I'm interested in and not just career hopping?
how well, I don't know how long you've been doing either one, and if you've just gone from one to the other, it's pretty easy. I've had a lot of people, I've had, you know, a lot of people with strange qualifications like biochemistry that end up in finance, and they're like, oh no, I did the degree, I was in a lab for 6 months, I need to see people, so you know, I changed it. You know, honesty is a great thing. You know, a lot of the time we sometimes go into these things, we studied the degrees, and when you've actually gone into the field of work, you realize, sure, this isn't for me. And you know, then we change path. Changing path doesn't make you fickle. You know, I think that's just life. You know, sometimes we need to go one route to realize we're going another route. So it's about having an open and honest conversation with somebody and lay it out to them. You know, tell them, you know, this is what I did. I didn't enjoy it for these reasons, and that's why I'm pursuing this career, because after doing a little bit more research and a little bit more life experience, I've realized that that's not exactly the place for me.
The last one is actually, again, a comment on a previous question, and I think it's a very valuable one. And that comes from Letlogonolo Gore, adding on whether to work at well-known companies or taking a better role. I think it's important to look at organizational culture when considering which company to work at. Very valuable.
Exactly.
Very
Yes,
valuable.
yes.
Thank you for that.